People station. What is that? Spark FM.
ASAP After School Arts Program is a remote learning incubator focused on amplifying the voices of impacted youth in the community ages 17 to 24. ASAP kicks off with a screenwriting workshop sponsored by Final Draft, the leading software for professional screenwriters and filmmakers all over the world. Each student will receive the free software for 1 year and access to film professionals who will visit the class this Black History Month. The workshop is facilitated by award-winning filmmaker Dominga Martin, a Roxbury native and alumni of Boston's Youth Outreach Program. Her work has been seen on BET, VH1, and TV1. The screenwriting series has 35 slots available. Register now. Slots are filling up fast. Must have a Mac or Windows computer and the internet. Available for one class per week for 1.5 hours and between the ages of 17 and 24. Orientation starts January 29th. For more information, email info@afterschoolartsprogram.com or visit www.afterschoolartsprogram.com. ASAP. Follow After School Arts Program on Instagram and Facebook.
Are you tired of renting and need more of your own space? Are you getting stressful letters or calls from the bank? Does your home require expensive repairs and you just don't have the funds to fix them? Regardless of whether you want to buy or sell, Tayla Andre of Thumbprint Realty is here to help. From saving your home from foreclosure to walking you through the process of becoming a first-time homeowner, Tayla makes real estate easy. With your best interests at heart, knowledge of the market, and a passion for people, Tayla is dedicated and motivated to serve you.
Good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I am Tayla Andre, and I am determined and dedicated in assisting you in all of your real estate needs. Give me a call at 617-459-0041. Again, that number is 617-459-0041. Or you can email me at TAYLAANDRE@thumbprintrealty.com.
You are now listening to Spark FM.
Hey, good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I am Tayla Andre. Waking up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up, but about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. I am getting married. I'm joking. Married at First Sight is now casting for season 14 here in Boston. Who gonna apply? Yo, this is a real life thing. People do this. Married at First Sight. Would this sound like an arranged marriage? I want to watch it. And I don't even watch reality TV. It just sounds like it would be really dope. And so it says, we have a wicked, awesome announcement for Boston singles today. Married at First Sight is heading your way. If you are single, truly ready for a commitment and currently live in the Boston area, please apply here. Granted, it's a Boston area. There's going to be mad people from like Lynn, Lowell, Wellesley. You know, when anybody leaves Massachusetts and you be like, oh, where you from? They be like, from Boston. They be straight from Lawrence. No, you're from Lawrence. 45 minutes away from Boston. You can apply at mafsboston.castingcrane.com. I want to see. Who's going to apply? Good rising. Why you can't apply for Married at First Sight? My apologies for being late, you guys. We had technical difficulties in the building, but we are up and running and doing what we need to do. And so as far as, yesterday, really quick check-in, right? So yesterday was day 2 of my workout, of my cleanse. And remember I told you guys I was really scared about taking my pictures? Like I was terrified that I had to take pictures with the fupa out. Like you can't wear high-waisted panties. You couldn't wear a high-waisted bathing suit, like belly out. Yo, I saw the pictures. I was like, no. I have not eaten chocolate in 3 days. I haven't had a cookie in 3 days. I do not. I'm like, how did we get here? You want to pass me that cookie? That's how we got here. So I'm not making no excuses. This is absolutely not the best. It is spinach arugula, cilantro, peanut butter, almond milk, banana. And so I recently learned that cilantro detoxes your body as far as like lead is concerned, detoxifying your pineal gland or pineal gland or pineal gland, however you want to say it. I've heard it a million and one ways. And so I've been adding cilantro to a little bit of everything. So there's a little of cilantro in my sweet potato, orange, carrot juice. There's a little bit of cilantro and basil in my watermelon cucumber. And so I just have really been up on my cilantro. Water, I haven't graduated from a half a gallon yet. I'm still at half a gallon with lime and chia seeds. And for lunch, we have salad with Cape Verdean tuna fish. Yo, can I tell you, so 2 days, it's been 2 days since I had all of the junk that I typically eat. And I really don't eat junk. I really have a sweet tooth. That's why I have so many damn cavities. And not cavities, what's them things called? Fillings. And so I feel like my stomach like disappeared in 2 days. Really, what you eat really determines how much belly fat you have. And people say it and you read it and you hear it, but you don't understand until you you do a juice cleanse, or you do a cleanse, or you start being mindful of what it is that you eat. And my stomach was like out to here, and now it's like out to here. So it's not that big of a deal. Yesterday, girl, let me tell you, I don't know who I'm talking to right now. I just tried to do a push-up. I just stayed on the floor. Anari's like, what are you doing? I was like, Nari, I can't do push-ups. He was like, come here. I got you. Yo, Anari's going to be the best husband ever. Like, he is going to be so dope as a man in whatever female's life he chooses. And so he was just like, come on, get up. Get on your knees, put all of your weight on here, open your arms a little bit. Okay, now do it. Come on, I'll do it with you. And he did it with me. I love him. And so I did my push-ups. And when I tell you, like, I was like, this is not working. Like, I look like I feel like a punk doing push-ups on my knees, but I can literally feel in my back and in my arms the difference that those little knee push-ups did. And so I'm inspired that one of these days I'm going to be able to do a whole push-up. That's so bad. I can't be a stripper if I can't do push-ups. I need upper body strength. As far as news is concerned, Reebok relaunches the Reebok Human Rights Award program to honor young activists. And so I have 54'11", size 7 in girls. So I love Reebok, always have loved Reebok. But starting this year, Reebok will annually honor extraordinary young human rights activists under the age of 30. Each activist who will be revealed at a ceremony this up and coming June will receive $100,000 award to support them and their work. This program is being done in partnership with the Alabama State University and the American Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU. The need for activism to promote equality and the rights of all humans has arguably never been greater. We are proud to once again celebrate and support young individuals who have dedicated their lives to fighting injustice and creating a better world, said Reebok President Matt O'Toole in a written statement. And we are incredibly fortunate and grateful to be able to relaunch the program with the support of the ACLU and the Alabama State University. Together, we believe this program can be a catalyst for meaningful change. And so I just want to remind you of who I am. Roll Tide. In other news, I am really excited. So pause. Have you ever been to the store to go get a birthday card or a Christmas card or whatever cards you get for whatever? So I do a lot of like card shopping when my buyers or sellers close. And so I just want to say thank you. And you guys have a thank you card from me. And so cards suck. Like they need to be written by a whole new genre. They need to be like, just because I love you, just because of this. And they have blank cards, but the mahogany Hallmark cards that I always felt were so disingenuous. It was just like, someone was like, what would Black people want to say to each other? So now Hallmark Cards Inc. has named Alexis Kerr as its new vice president of the Hallmark Mahogany brand. And so I am excited for this because the Hallmark Mahogany brand is a greeting card line that has honored and celebrated Black culture for more than 30 years. Mind you, I feel like I just started seeing them within the last 10 years. According to the company, the brand has earned a higher degree of credibility with Hallmark customers through its cultural, authentic designs and bold words of affirmations. So Kerr will be responsible for expanding and elevating how consumers see and experience the brand, in addition to expanding it into new spaces in the marketplace. And so Hallmark's investment in Mahogany will help us deepen and strengthen our relationship with existing customers while also attracting new and diverse audiences. I am excited to lead the team as we help more people live caring and connected lives through meaningful moments. And so I am really excited to see this change. Kerr had several decades of experience in brand and business growth within the automotive industry at General Motors. And she's been most recently the head of the multicultural marketing for Cadillac, where her work and position has allowed her to grow the multicultural brand presence by 40% and consistently increase sales in the market growth. Listen, Cadillac don't need no help. Dun, 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 dun. I forgot the whole beat. Daddy, where you at? Ooh, who sang that song? It's not Bootsy Collins. We're not going down that rabbit hole. You know what song I'm talking about. Sunroof back. Dun, dun, dun. Somebody's tell me the name of that damn song. Sephora, like everybody is doing a whole like relaunch, rebrand, this, and really understanding that Black people do matter. As long as you can get our dollars, that's really what it is. That's not a real phone call. That's really not like, they're not calling here. It's an old number, so they keep calling the old number. So don't think y'all trying to call in and I'm ignoring you. So Sephora relaunches a business incubator to help Black, Indigenous, people of color, beauty entrepreneurs. And so I don't know if you guys are aware, and the only reason why I'm aware is because Asaria loves makeup. And so I'm new to this space of like makeup and contour and all blush and things that I don't even know what the hell they do, right? So there are 90% of the brands that you find in makeup stores are by white people. And so if you go back into the history of makeup throughout the years, Claire Huxtable, that's not her real name, Felicia Rashad talks about how difficult it was for makeup to be applied to her because they never had her color. Who else talked about this? I can't think in my head right now, but I remember, like, I don't know if you remember Prince. You don't have to be dirty us to turn me on. What is that? Kiss. If you look at the Kiss video from Prince, like they butchered his makeup completely. I want to see if I can find this because they really had him like literally whitewash. And I forgot that they don't have nothing of Prince on YouTube. You have to like backdoor Prince's stuff. But if you do your own due diligence and go look, like Prince was 3,000 shades lighter than what he truly was. And so I'm excited to see there be differences and like acknowledge the fact that over years, Black makeup artists have been pushed out. And let's just think about, remember Shark Tank? Shark Tank had told the girls who did like the colorful lipstick, was just like, y'all look like cockroaches with, like that's disgusting. I don't know who would ever want to buy that. And then their brand exploded and now they're like multimillionaires. And so previously reports reported that Sephora released its diversity report along with its efforts to promote more inclusion in its workforce. This week, the beauty giant announced that it will relaunch its business incubator program to include all Black and minority beauty products. So the incubator is in their sixth year, but this will be the first with all minority-owned businesses or brands. The program will offer participants mentorship sessions with industry veterans, in addition to providing potential funding for investor connections and merchandise support. Applications for the incubator. So if you know anybody who makes makeup, makes lipstick, makes this, makes that, skincare products, whatever, applications are currently closed for now because they had such an abundance of applicants, but details for applications for the 2022 incubator, just keep your eye, they will be available in the fall. And just keep your eye out for it. Last year, we made a commitment to dedicate 15% of Sephora's shelf space to Black-owned brands. 15%, baby. 15%. Are you hearing me? That is 85% white-owned brands that try and diversify versus 15% of Black-owned brands. And so we quickly realized the role that our accelerator program could play in not helping us reach that goal. But to set these brands up for long-term success and growth, we need to go ahead and the goal of the program has been to provide meaningful ongoing support for growing brands. And that is exactly what we're aiming to deliver to our 2021 Accelerator cohort. Each of the 8 participant founders is inspiring in their own right, and we believe wholeheartedly in their potential at Sephora. And so could you imagine, that's dope. The 8 brands that were selected for the accelerator were Glory Skincare, 54 Thrones, Rise, Hyperskin, Tropicals, Imania Beauty, EADEM, and Kelfie Beauty. And so keep a lookout for those if makeup is your thing. So Republicans are complete a-holes. I'm not sure if I can say that word on air, but are complete a-holes. And so the conversation is being had about $15 an hour as minimum wage. When you take a look at how much or how long, or like when you look at inflation over the last, we don't even have to do 30 years. We don't even have to do 50 years. My grandmother was telling me, no, it was my auntie. My auntie was telling me that her father purchased 11 acres of land with a big 8-bedroom house in Marshfield in the 1960s for $11,000. Right now it's being sold for, and I think they sold it for like $200,000 later on. Right now, that property is worth over $1.5 million. I say that to say, when you look at how inflation has altered the way we live, income has never increased. And so Republican lawmakers didn't acknowledge that the federal minimum wage kept pace with productivity. It would actually be around $24 an hour. So if we took a look through history where we should be, minimum wage is not like, why? I understand, and being a business owner, and Anari thinks that I need to pay him minimum. I have to pay him minimum wage because he's an employee. He told me he's gonna, if you don't pay me minimum wage, I'm gonna report you. And I believe him because he's petty. So paying, as a business owner, paying your employees, like, it really feels good to pay your employees, but at the same time, it feels good to make sure that you're paying people what they can live off of, and not paying people to go out and get a second job. So they're not really focused on you. They focused on making sure they can juggle and pay these bills. And had we kept pace with productivity, we would be at $24 an hour and not $10 less than that, begging for 15. And minimum wage isn't just about, McDonald's workers or fast food workers or like, the essential employees that we needed more than anything on earth during this pandemic. But if you take a look at a lot of even like city jobs, it's like must have a master's degree for $64,000 a year. It's just like, yo, it just took me $150,000 to get a master's degree. And you're going to pay me $60,000 a year? And a lot of times your experience, so again, speaking to my auntie, she was working for Gillette, the razor company. And she was, once she retired, she was like the executive of their urban department. And so what she told me, she was like, Tayla, I was over here training people who are making the big bucks and making more than me, but I had all the experience. So I went back to school, and as soon as I got my degree, they gave me 6 figures. And we're still in the mindset that you need this piece of freaking paper to rationalize why you deserve what you deserve. If you have the knowledge and you know what you're doing, what the paper do when 9 times out of 10, the person who's actually teaching you this stuff is reading out of a damn book themselves? Unless you go to Harvard, and then it's a little different. What time is it? Let's pay some bills. We're going to pay bills. When we come back, let's finish the news, and then we're going to talk. I want to talk about Dr. Bronner's soap. So I don't know if anybody has ever actually read a Dr. Bronner's soap label, but that's what we finna do today. And it's not as boring as it sounds. I promise you it's not. I am Tayla Andre. Waking up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up, but about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. You're tuned in to Spark FM Online.
People Station. What is that? Spark FM.
ASAP After School Arts Program is a remote learning incubator focused on amplifying the voices of impacted youth in the community ages 17 to 24. ASAP kicks off with a screenwriting workshop sponsored by Final Draft, the leading software for professional screenwriters and filmmakers all over the world. Each student will receive the free software for 1 year and access to film professionals who will visit the class this Black History Month. The workshop is facilitated by award-winning filmmaker Domingo Martin, a Roxbury native and alumni of Boston's Youth Outreach Program. Her work has been seen on BET, VH1, and TV1. The screenwriting series has 35 slots available. Register now. Slots are filling up fast. Must have a Mac or Windows computer and the internet. Available for 1 class per week for 1.5 hours and between the ages of 17 and 24. Orientation starts January 29th. For more information, email info@afterschoolartsprogram.com or visit www.afterschoolartsprogram.com. ASAP. Follow After School Arts Program on Instagram and Facebook.
Are you tired of renting and need more of your own space? Are you getting stressful letters or calls from the bank? Does your home require expensive repairs and you just don't have the funds to fix them? Regardless of whether you want to buy or sell, Tayla Andre of Thumbprint Realty is here to help. From saving your home from foreclosure to walking you through the process of becoming a first-time homeowner, Tayla makes real estate easy. With your best interests at heart, knowledge of the market, and a passion for people, Tayla is dedicated and motivated to serve you.
Good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I am Tayla Andre, and I am determined and dedicated in assisting you in all of your real estate needs. Give me a call at 617-459-0041. Again, that number is 617-459-0041. Or you can email me at TAYLAANDRE@thumbprintrealty.com.
You are enjoying the miracle of radio.
New England's #1 urban Caribbean music. Radio. Spark FM.
Good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I am Tayla Andre. Waking up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up, but about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. The grant was for 5411 size 7 and Reebok. Reebok Foundation grant. I just read it. So somebody just asked what was the grant for Reebok, the $100,000 for young people activists under the age of 30. Grant Reebok. It was not diversity and inclusion. It was equity. Reebok grant equity. I will find it during our next commercial break and I will post it up. But if you do your own due diligence, it's Reebok's equity for $100,000 under the age of 30. And so, hey, Yahida, how are you, my love? Joshua Activism Grant thing. Can you go over when you get a chance? I will look for that. Absolutely. You talk straight facts, but at the same time, be having me dying laughing. I'm over here at work with my coworker cracking up. Thank you, Joshua Rowe. Tell your brother I said what's going on. You be in your bag on the mic. I appreciate y'all. I hugs, absolutely hugs all day long. Okay, so I wanted to tell you that I found it. I finally found it. So for the last, for those that don't know, for the last week, I've been trying to find this quote about how you let one circumstance change your whole entire life. And so watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. And so that came from Motivational Monday. Was it Motivational Monday? We were talking about making excuses. And once you make an excuse, you fall into the habit of making excuses. And then all of a sudden, this is who you are as a person, making excuses for yourself and for others. And so we putting that down in 2021. No excuses, all results. And you can have results, but you can have results or you can have excuses, but you can't have both. And so shout out to Mike, who is the personal trainer who I'm so scared to call because he looked like he going to kill me. 4 Louisiana officers arrested over police brutality cases and other misconduct. So in Louisiana, 4 police officers have been arrested for their involvement in cases of police brutality. In 2019, Ronald Green, a black man, died in state police custody after he was choked, beaten, and jolted repeatedly with a stun gun by state troopers. Federal authorities have also launched their own investigation into Green's killing. Other charges stem from May 2020 car chase and arrest when officers reportedly deactivated their body cameras and falsified use of force in arresting reports. This is not the first time. This is not the last time. The Senate has voted 56-44 to proceed with that is not the damn story. This took a left. My apologies. What was the other thing that I wanted? About if you or anybody you know or love has ever been arrested. We talk about cash bail all of the time and how important it is for things to be different regarding cash bail. The United States Commission on Civil Rights will hold a virtual briefing on February 26th on the bail reform in the United States. The commission's investigation seeks to examine the state of bail and pretrial detention practices, including the involvement of the private bail industry, various mechanisms for reform, and the potential regulatory role of the federal government. Open comment session or public testimony, written comments only, and I am going to type this into the chat. I want to flood all, I want so many stories, like Khalif Browder is the reason why cash bail shouldn't be a real thing. How many innocent black men and women who don't have $5,000, who, Meek Mill's documentary, his mother was selling plates to get him out of jail. When you don't have the money to pay cash bail, you lose your house. First of all, you don't end up going to work. You're no call, no show. So you end up losing your job. After you end up losing your job, what else do you lose? Your housing, because you can't pay your rent. You can't pay your mortgage. And then where your kids at? For a female, so many women have had their children taken away from them because they were in jail and couldn't pay cash bail. And so it's like, oh, well, the children are now a ward of the state because their mother's nowhere to be found, or their mother's in jail, regardless if she's innocent or guilty, because her trial has not began. She didn't go before a judge or a jury. She just doesn't have the money to pay to come out of jail. Now, we are very lucky and we are very blessed here in Massachusetts because we don't have a private prison industry. But before Rachel Rollins, we absolutely had cash bail as a problem here in Boston. And so that is it's bail. For those that are listening, it's bail reform at usccr.gov. And so if you know anyone who has ever been in jail and could not have paid the cash bail, please have them write or email their experience to bailreform at usccr.gov. And so I want to flood their freaking email. And this was sent to me. I got this in my inbox as press, but this isn't going out to the public. Please share it with your friends. It's currently on my Facebook page. Share it with someone who is heavy or involved. And this is across the United States. This isn't Boston. This isn't Massachusetts. If you know anybody in the United States who has ever been held on cash bail and whatever their experiences are, flood the damn email with testimony after testimony after testimony of the harm and damage that a cash bail system does. And so they're looking at reforming the bail reform of the United States. And so I just want to be clear that that is really important to all of us because, you know, I might get arrested one day. I don't know what the bail might be, but there are too many brothers and sisters that are affected by this on a daily basis. And even though it may not directly affect me, I see the harm and the damage that it does. Qualcomm unveils the first 10 gigabyte 5G modem. So while it's not hugely faster than the 7.5 Gbps of the X60, it promises a speed that was previously reserved for Ethernet or other weird connections. The X65 also boosts some functional improvements, including AI-based antenna tuning and better response to hand grips. So the reason why I think that this is important is because we've been having conversations about stock. And so I want you to take a look at Qualcomm and just follow it. I'm not advising you to do a damn thing. I am only a licensed real estate agent. That is the only thing that I can advise you to do. So I am suggesting that you do your own due diligence and just take a look at Qualcomm and watch it. And next time it goes on sale or it goes in the red and it goes down, I know nothing about stock. Don't take nothing I'm saying for nothing. Like, do your due diligence. But these are the type of stories that I personally read to kind of get an understanding of what, you know, what's going on, what does the future hold, because it's important. And these little, we're unveiling the X65. Don't nobody care about a damn X65. Nobody even know who Qualcomm is. But I bet you if you take a look at their stock and keep watching it, boom. Okay, so early reports find that the Denver program that sends healthcare workers to handle mental health calls instead of police has been successful. I don't know how long you've been a viewer or a listener of the show, but this was something that we discussed when, you know, they began talking about possibly for mental health calls instead of sending police, because how many people have been killed in the last year? We don't even have to go far out. We could say in the last 6 months, how many people have been killed during mental health calls or mental health check-ins, or like he is, you know, a grown man with Asperger's who just is, I don't know if Asperger's is a form of, I don't know, but any type of mental illness that causes you to be uncontrollable. And if me at 37, and Anari at 17, if my son had a mental illness where he needed to be controlled and I needed to like hold him down, I couldn't do it. I could not do it. So I can't imagine being the parental or the caregiver of an adult male, 27, 28, 35-year-old male that has all of this unbeknownst strength, because we know for a fact that you are as strong as your mind says that you are. And right now, Tayla can't even do a push-up in my mind and in reality. And so what I'm going to do to hold down a 200-pound grown 6-foot man, like, it's not going to work. So yeah, I might call the police, but there definitely should, like, you shouldn't even have to call. Because 911 also allows you to call the EMTs or the fire department. So if you call 911, in my opinion, you should be able to, so this is mental health. The police don't show up at all, period. So it was a 6-month progress report on the support team's assistance response program called STAR that has found the program responded to 748 calls that included welfare checks, narcotic incidents, and mental health episodes. The report found that no police assistance was needed on any of the 748 calls, and that not one single person was arrested. And so the police chief, Paul Pazin, told reports that he views the program as a success and that it saves lives. And that's 748 times fewer that the police department was called, meaning we can free up law enforcement to do what law enforcement is supposed to do and really what law enforcement is good at. And that's addressing crime issues, violent crimes, property crimes, traffic safety. Nah, y'all need to just leave us the hell alone. You have a safer community and you have better outcomes for people in crisis. And so by dismantling the mental illness treatment center system, we have turned mental health crisis from a medical issue into a police matter. And this is John Snook, of the executive director and co-author of the Treatment Advocacy Center study. He said in a press release, this is potentially unfair, illogical, and proving harmful both to the individual in desperate need of care and the officer who's forced to respond ignorantly. That part wasn't in it, but it's ignorant because you're looking at it as somebody who's aggressive and somebody who needs to be subdued. And you're not going into it thinking like, yo, this is somebody with a mental health issue. Like, you can't, listen, I learned a couple years ago, you can't rationalize with the irrational. Like, the sky is blue. But if you have an irrational person, it's just like, the sky is purple. I seen it on Tuesday at 4:30. Well, okay, Tuesday at 4:30, but if you look right now, it's blue. It's like, you cannot rationalize with irrational people. And so you trying to subdue people who don't even view you as police. Like, you're not even a police officer. You just somebody in the way of my emotions that I currently cannot control. And so, in other news, a Black woman in Florida claims she was acting in self-defense after firing at a police officer during a raid. She is not the only one. I don't know if you guys remember, but when Trayvon Martin was killed, there was also a woman whose husband, like, they separated and he came back to the house and she was like, nah, you gotta go. It was her husband. Her name was Marissa, Florida. I think she's still in jail too. Melissa Alexander. In May of 2012, 31-year-old Marissa Alexander was prosecuted for aggravated assault with a lethal weapon and received a mandatory minimum of 20 years in prison. Alexander said that she fired a warning shot after her husband attacked her and threatened to kill her on August 1st, 2010 in Jacksonville, Florida, which doesn't make any sense because Stand Your Ground allowed Trayvon Martin to be murdered, but she went outside and popped off a shot and was like, yo, you said you were going to kill me. I'm protecting and standing my ground. Keep it moving and leave my house. And she was arrested and is still in jail. No, I'm lying. She was finally freed on January 27th. She plans to take up the fight for domestic abuse victims and push to change in what advocates have called an uneven application of Florida's Stand Your Ground. Amen. Hallelujah. Well, in this particular case, 28-year-old Diamond Ford fired at a SWAT officer during a narcotics raid on September 28th of last year. Ford was sleeping in bed with her fiancé, 28-year-old Anthony Gannett. She heard the window break. Ford fired her handgun, believing it was an intruder trying to enter her home, and then quickly ran to the bathroom to call 911. After learning that it was law enforcement trying to enter her home, Ford surrendered. The officer who was shot didn't suffer any life-threatening injuries. Ford and Gannett currently face charges on attempted murder of a law enforcement officer and armed possession of marijuana with intent to distribute. But I have a question. Why the SWAT team coming in for weed, though? How much weed did they have if you coming in, you busting down the door? She was held on $535,000 bond. And as we learned, the difference between bail and bond are very much the same. We drove all over the country. In 6 days, we raised $500,000 for a Black woman, said Trey Johns, executive director of Dignity Power. Nant is held on $350,000 bond, and attorneys have filed a motion to have the amount reduced. You don't allow Black women to protect themselves. So here we are asking you to protect Black women. Dignity Power is going to stand here and we're going to protect her with our very lives. That was John once again responding. And so as far as my commentary on this, first and foremost, I'm just a fiance. I'm in bed sleep. Like I didn't even do nothing but have a little weed. It doesn't say how much weed they actually had, but if the SWAT team had to come in, would they like, it's weed. When did, I thought we let that go. It's Florida. I don't know why I'm surprised. I'm not. I'm not. Michelle Obama is set to appear in a Netflix food show called Waffles and Mochi. I don't know if you know what Mochi is. Like, Mochi is this weird gummy, like, I don't know how to explain it. I don't like the outside of Mochi, but I love the ice cream inside of Mochi. It is like, it's this real creamy, smooth. It's on a whole nother level. It's, from what I understand, is an Asian delicacy or Asian snack. And I like it. And so Michelle Obama tweeted, I am beyond thrilled to share that on March 16th, I'll be launching a new show on Netflix called Waffles and Mochi. I'm excited for families and children everywhere to join us on our adventure as we discover, cook, and eat delicious food from all over the world. And so I am excited and can't wait to watch that. And I have a 2-year-old, so I have got reasons to watch it. The Republicans slam an interior picks Senate panel advancements of an EPA nomination. And so a Senate committee has endorsed President Joe Biden's nomination of Michael Regan to lead the Environmental Protection Agency, setting up a full vote for the Senate. The Senate Environment and Public Works Committee advanced Reagan's nomination Tuesday on a 14-6 vote, but 4 Republicans, including a new committee member, Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, joined with all 10 Democrats to support Reagan. Reagan, who has served as North Carolina's top environmental regulator since 2017, will be the first Black man to run the EPA. And so can I tell you, just looking at this picture, it's not that he doesn't look Black. It looks like they are Halan. That's what it is. And so they're like, okay, that's fine. You can have a Black man. But what the Biden administration has put racial equity, climate change, and health at the forefront of its agenda. Implementation will require dramatic rethinking of the approach of public lands, said Marissa Marrez of the Natural Resource Defense Council. Halan selection fortifies this commitment, and Halan is a Native American. So mind you, we've been having this whole conversation the entire duration of my show about Native lands and sacred lands and treaty lands and First Nation peoples. And so I am excited because the Republicans are mad because this means that all that pipeline-ish is going to go down straight down the damn drain. And they're not a fan of it. But I am glad. And I cannot wait to see what happens during all of this. There was a man who was charged with storming the Capitol that formerly worked for the FBI and held a top secret clearance. We're not even going to go into the story. We're just going to leave that right there. I want to give a huge shout out because Alta has a new diversity and inclusion advisor, and it is Tracy Ellis Ross. I love some Tracy. Tracy is so, like, I feel like me and Tracy will be friends. That she is my friend in my head. And one day, Tracy will be my friend in real life. Because that's how I felt about Free. And guess who my friend today? Free Marie. So Maryland considers allowing civilians to see police misconduct records. And the police union complains that cops' privacy will be exposed. The only problem that I have with this article is the fact that y'all are dumb as hell because whenever you go vote, when you vote for somebody, their whole address is right there for the entire city to see. When you take a look, for me, I don't care. I do not care because if you ain't doing nothing that don't cause nobody to want retaliation, you don't have nothing to worry about. Tayla, you sound dumb. No, I don't. Because if you're out here doing your job and doing the right thing, absolutely nothing. Who wants retaliation? Nobody wants to know where the police live until the police shoot somebody, kill somebody that they had no business shooting and killing. Period. And if you look at Twitter, I don't know how Twitter does it. The internet is so undefeated. When the police, the gentleman that was shot and killed when he was running through the neighborhood and then went into the house that was being built, and he never stole anything, but he was just being nosy because Tayla do that all the damn time. So I know what it's like. Oh, what's the layout of this house? It's in building mode. There's no trespassing signs. I can see, right? So when he was shot and killed, Twitter had everybody's number, phone number, email address, was like, this is where their mama lived. This is where the sister lived. There is no filter at all. And so it really isn't that difficult to, as far as retaliation is concerned, to find out where you at and where you live and where you be at, because where you live may not be where you be at. And so from the Washington Post, the FOP President Clyde Boatwright said his members are telling legislators not to let the things that are happening nationally affect our policy. Giving civilians a role in investigations of police conduct, he said, would be akin to allowing members of the public to take place in a soldier's court-martial. You cannot investigate your mother self and find you did nothing wrong. We're tired of it, period. We need to have a right where our police officers are not unfairly treated. That's the whole point. Stop treating people unfairly and won't nobody want to treat you unfairly. Do as to others as you want have done unto you. Keep Maryland Safe website frames its pitch around the need to protect good officers and guaranteeing fairness for Black and Latino officers. If the due process rights disappear, Maryland is likely to see an exodus of good officers. No, good officers don't care because good officers do the right thing. What we gonna see is them crooked MFs gone. Bye, Felicia. In other news, really quickly, what time is it? It's time for us to talk about Dr. Bronner's. Okay, so really quickly, let's do a lightning round. So millennial women of color are outperforming white people when it comes to credit. Period. Rosalind Brewer's move to Walgreens make her the only Black woman to lead a Fortune 500 company. I know we read this story last week, but I am going to read this company every week until we understand that there is only one Black woman leading, spearheading, executiving a Fortune 500 company. And they're 500. Like there's 500 of them. That's why it's called Fortune 500. And there's only one black woman. So we're going to leave that there. My white mother and my black father raised me to be a black woman, period. Kiki Wyatt apologizes for her comment about the oppression of black people. Can you please stop apologizing for blacks? Stop apologizing. So, and so have Mexicans and so have other people, honey. Black people are not the only ones that have gone through that. And love and hip hop. She was talking to somebody on social media, and then she apologized for talking about, she was, whatever. Long story short, what Kiki Wyatt said, don't apologize for saying what you said, period. I'm not apologizing for saying what I said. I said it. Like I said it. I said it. And so she's apologizing for saying like black people aren't the only ones that have suffered. Dr. Atia Martin says this all the time, and I truly believe it. No one has a monopoly on suffering, period. Like Black women don't have a monopoly over suffering against black men. Black men don't have a monopoly. Like, it's not a competition on who suffers the most. What we need to do is acknowledge that we all have suffered at the hands of, and go ahead, and that needs to be the movement, period. We're over here fighting each other, and they're like, yo, look at these over here fighting each other. Let's continue doing what we're doing, because they're too occupied fighting each other. We don't even need to fight. Let's just sit back and smoke this cigar and watch, because this is funny. Really quickly, over 120,000 people oppose the federal bill blocking trans athletes from sports. And I'm really surprised that it really isn't higher. I watched a video the other day that had a trans black man running, it was going, when you run and jump hurdles. Yo, when I tell you, like, she, because trans, she left. Everybody was on hurdle 3. She was on hurdle 7. I believe if you want to be a woman, you can be whatever you want to be. Whatever you want to be, you can be that. But I do not believe that men should compete in women's sports and women should compete in men's sports. If that's the case, then we just need to make them integrated. But at the same time, we don't, because we know the physiological, we're built different. Men are built different. Women are built different. I don't care how many hormone blockers you take, how much testosterone you take. Your body don't know that you want to be a different sex. Your body is your body. And no matter how many what's-the-names you take, even people that take steroids, your body still got limitations, because your body is your body. You can't make it what it's not. Unless you're the federal government, and then you want to start adding mechanical things and chips everywhere. And that's a real thing. The United States government, as well as China, have been experimenting with like superhumans. And there's a new movie that recently came out with Vin Diesel about him being a super soldier. And so this ain't movies, baby. These are real things. When you pay attention to the national news and you pay attention to what's going on in the whole wide world, these movies ain't movies. It's a sneak peek into your future. So we are going to take a break. I'll read these other news stories mañana. We're going to pay some bills. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the dope Dr. Bronner. I am Tayla Andre. Waking Up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up, but about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. I hope y'all are doing well today, because I feel good. I feel great. I feel amazing. I really do feel amazing. But if you don't see me, it's because I got to run to the bathroom, because all of this liquid is running through me. Ashe, we'll be right back.
Let's start with the big question.
Who are you? The all-new Spark FM.
ASAP After School Arts Program is a remote learning incubator focused on amplifying the voices of impacted youth in the community ages 17 to 24. ASAP kicks off with a screenwriting workshop sponsored by Final Draft, the leading software for professional screenwriters and filmmakers all over the world. Each student will receive the free software for 1 year and access to film professionals who will visit the class this Black History Month. The workshop is facilitated by award-winning filmmaker Dominga Martin, a Roxbury native and alumni of Boston's Youth Outreach Program. Her work has been seen on BET, VH1, and TV1. The screenwriting series has 35 slots available. Register now. Slots are filling up fast. Must have a Mac or Windows computer and the internet. Available for one class per week for 1.5 hours and between the ages of 17 and 24. Orientation starts January 29th. For more information, email info@afterschoolartsprogram.com or visit www.afterschoolartsprogram.com. ASAP. Follow After School Arts Program on Instagram and Facebook.
What is this, Doctor?
This is
Well, Spark of New England, Spark FM. Bringing the heat back to the airwaves. Turn us up.
all right. Let's take a look.
Come, let me go down the road with a drink in we hand on the avenue. Everybody, let me go now.
The Avenue, every Saturday, 1 to 4 p.m. with Gary Banton and Big Trinity on Spark FM Online.
Go down, let me jump and go down the road. Go down the road, let me go down the road with a drink in we hand on the avenue.
The Avenue.
Are you tired of renting and need more of your own space? Are you getting stressful letters or calls from the bank? Does your home require expensive repairs and you just don't have the funds to fix them? Regardless of whether you want to buy or sell, Tayla Andre of Thumbprint Realty is here to help. From saving your home from foreclosure to walking you through the process of becoming a first-time homeowner, Tayla makes real estate easy. With your best interests at heart, knowledge of the market, and a passion for people, Tayla is dedicated and motivated to serve you.
Good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I am Tayla Andre, and I am determined and dedicated in assisting you in all of your real estate needs. Give me a call at 617-459-0041. Again, that number is 617-459-0041. Or you can email me at TAYLAANDRE@thumbprintrealty.com.
Good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I am Tayla Andre. Waking up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up, but about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. Yes. Oh, yes. I love getting text messages and emails that warm my heart. So the truth said, hey, Tayla, what's up? Good rising, good rising. Did you know the system of court, they will offer you a deal to do less time if you say you did something you really didn't do? Khalif Browder is a prime example of that because they asked Khalif, they were like, yo, just serve this time real quick. And he was like, I didn't steal the effing backpack. I didn't steal the backpack. And so because like Khalif could have been released from jail, even though he didn't have the money for the cash bail, if he would have taken a plea deal, but he decided he was not going to take a plea deal because he didn't steal the effing backpack, which makes sense. And so the truth also said that the court will have you lie about something you didn't do. Some lawyers came out and spoke out about the system and that the system's fraud. Yup. And so with that being said, Dr. Bronner is, the soap company that has all of the words all over the label. So Dr. Bronner's founder is Emmanuel Bronner. Theodore Bronner was the maker of Dr. Bronner's magic soaps. He used product labels to promote his moral and religious ideas, including a belief in the goodness and unity of humanity. And so he was born February 1st in 1908. That's the AKAs, right? 1908. In Germany. and he died in 1997 in California. And so I love Dr. Bronner's first and foremost as a soap, and second, we teach. This is some of the readings on the label. When we teach the moral ABCs, all mankind is united, brave, strong, just free. For the future will be better when we are better. Times will change when we change. Conditions will improve when we improve. And if you and I cooperate by full truth to accomplish them, we're all brothers and sisters. You and I, here and now, today. Not them nor they, you and I today. First, if I'm not for me, who am I? Nobody. Second, yet if I'm only for me, what am I? Nothing. Third, if not now, when? Unite we must. Have courage and smile, my friend. Think and act 10 years ahead. Teach the moral ABC that unites all mankind free. Instantly 6 billion strong, and we're all one. Balance food for body, mind, soul, spirit is our real medicine. Self-discipline is the key to freedom. Breathe deeply. Repetition is the key to knowledge. The lavender label includes life's goal: to keep my health, to do my work, to love, to live. To see it, I gain and grow and give and give. Never to look behind me for an hour, never to wait in weakness nor walk in power. Always working, searching for more truth, more light. Always speaking, fighting for what I found good and right. Yo, I don't think y'all feel me. Y'all ain't feeling me on the Dr. Bronners. Just say Bronners. Okay. And so I just want to read some more because this is the whole show. This Motivational Wednesday, y'all. Motivational Wednesday. I feel like an old person. I gotta move my glasses. Clinical trials, dramatic results. Today, medical researchers at UCLA, NYU, Johns Hopkins, and elsewhere have been granted FDA approval to pursue trials of psychedelic-assisted therapy to treat PTSD, depression, addiction, and end-of-life anxiety. The results of these clinical trials have been very encouraging. In one trial of psilocybin-assisted therapy, 80% of patients were cured of depression after after a single dose. 3 sessions of MDMA-assisted therapy were shown to drastically ease symptoms for suffering from PTSD, even years after the original therapy was administered. Can we take a second to talk about that? So Molly, essentially, but Molly is typically what we know as MD. How you say it? MDMA. So when you think about MDMA, you typically think about Molly because we have Papa Molly, I'm sweating. Woo, Papa. So we kind of know psychedelics in that form, but psychedelics come naturally. We know that there is a bird. What animal? So there's a toad or a frog that when it excretes a solution on its back, that solution causes whoever licked it to get psychedelic effects. And what animal licks frogs? Frogs for psychedelic. PHY? Yeah. Psychedelic. If y'all don't know, Tayla cannot. Vets are warning some pooches that they may become addicted to the hallucinogenic and are risking their lives by trying to get their next toad fix. It's being reported that dogs have worked out how to lick the toad just enough to get high. Yo! While licking toads is no fairy tale, the side effects and the dangers. And so it's a toad. Toads in bufotoxin. Toads in the Bifunidae family have what is called a parotoid gland on the back of their head and produces an alkaloid toxin. If the toad is frightened or stressed, it will release the toxin coating on its back. However, the effects of the poison, generally called bufotoxin, vary widely from toad to toad. And if you lick it, it gives you the psychedelic effects of DMT or MDH. Not eight. Listen, all these letters. Dyslexia is real. MDMA. So I like it's for me. One of the stories that I was going to read earlier was about how a research study recently came out and was like, weed is the gateway drug. While in college, I learned about statistics and we had to do like statistics, and that first and foremost, statistics is really difficult. It's really hard. It's annoying. And if you're not good with numbers and you have dyslexia, it's problematic. But one of the things that I learned specifically was you can alter data to make it be whatever you want it to be. So if you want to say all Black people are criminals, you can skew the data to make it look like literally all Black people are criminals. So for me, I look at research differently, except for when it's in a positive light and it, holds up my beliefs. I'm being honest, we're all biased. No one's going to admit their biases. I'm admitting it. When it falls in line with what I want it to fall in line with, it's good. When it doesn't fall in line with what I don't want it to fall in line with, it's bad. That's our whole life as human beings. That's how we conduct ourselves. And so, to be honest, they have been saying that weed was a gateway drug for the longest time. I remember being in school with the Reagan Don't Do Drugs Dare people having those big, huge things with all the different pills on it that if you ever take these pills, you're going to die. For the longest time, I didn't want to do no drugs. And that's why I smoke weed and drink alcohol. All these other things that my cousins, my siblings, my damn mama, like, I can't. They scared me in 5th grade. I'm scared. I'm still scared as an adult. I will always remember 6th grade health class. But once you actually take a look at the research and you see how helpful some of the psychedelic drugs have been to people who were overseas and were fighting off, and you come home and you really need to be guided. When you take a look at like how mushrooms are, magic mushrooms work, and how Ascawaya, how you say that thing? A lot of Native Americans indulge in it. South Americans, Central Americans, like it's ayahuasca. So when you take a look at how many Native people engage in ayahuasca and how it's like a spiritual journey and it's something that they do on a regular basis, it really leads you to have like, why? So recently I was reading, I'm an audiobook reader. The book that I was reading is
Earned my book. That was a pivotal moment.
Is it that one or is it? No, it is this one. How to Change Your Mind. And it is what the new science of psychedelics teaches us about consciousness, dying, addiction, depression, and transcendence. And so that's by Michael Pollan. And I, absolutely I love the book. This is my second read or my second listen, because the first one was just like, it really breaks down everything that you were ever taught about drugs, everything that you were ever taught about psychedelics. It really gives you a different understanding of why First Nations people and our ancestors indulged in things that we consider bad and are like, oh my God, you do that. And it really made me wonder about like mushrooms, like out of the ground mushrooms that have you feeling like you on planet Mars. And like I really had questions like how and why, and even ayahuasca, which is just all natural. Why do we? And in the book, Michael talks about how in the 70s, it was huge. In the 70s, they were using MDMA for everything, to the point of like, that's what they were giving the soldiers that were out there fighting in Vietnam. That's why a lot of them came home and were addicted to drugs, because it was something that was given to them to kind of like, everything that they were told to do messed with their mind, and take this. It'll keep your mind off things. It'll stop you from thinking these thoughts that you have. It'll keep you from remembering the things and atrocities that you committed. And then they came home and they were strung out on it, trying to suppress all of those thoughts and all those feelings. The book is dope. The book is dope. Again, for those who want to know, it's How to Change Your Mind: What the New Science of Psychedelics Teaches Us About Consciousness, Dying, Addiction, Depression, and Transcendence. And so going back to Dr. Bronner's SOAP, post-traumatic stress is the invisible wound. Conventional treatments are not doing enough to bring relief to estimated 8 million adults suffering every year in this country from post-traumatic stress disorder. The trauma associated with combat, gun violence, abuse, sexual assault, and disasters can lead to severe symptoms that include reliving traumatic events, severe anxiety, insomnia, hostility, self-destructive behaviors, and suicide. We need to end this suffering. Depression is the silent killer. Depression is the leading cause of mental health disabilities worldwide. According to the World Health Organization, depression affects more than 300 million Americans. It robs people of their joy in life, reduces life expectancy by an average of 10 years by damaging the brain and body, and results in nearly 800,000 suicides every year. There's an urgent need to identify and test new treatments that can help bring hope and healing to all those that are suffering from depression. A substance use disorder, a devastating epidemic. Nearly 21 million Americans suffer from at least one addiction. Deaths caused by drug overdose have more than tripled since 1990. Whether alcohol, opioids, cocaine, nicotine, or other substance, addiction is a mental disorder that compels those in its grips to repeatedly use the substance in spite of the harmful consequences. Addiction can destroy marriages, friendships, and careers. They threaten a person's life and safety and the health and safety of others. Conventional treatments are often ineffective, and relapse are common. End-of-life anxiety, unnecessary distress. Many people experiencing terminal illness are also plagued by deliberating. Wow. Wow, my bad. Reading it, I know the damn word. Oh gosh. Can we have English class, please? Plagued by anxiety. I'm going to be able to say it in 5 seconds. Current anti-anxiety medications can often be inadequate and come with severe side effects that have patients overly sedated. Those with temperamental illnesses deserve to live, terminal illnesses deserve to live out their last days coherent, stress-free, and emotionally well. And so this is the purple bottle about psychedelics and how important psychedelics are. This is the blue bottle. This is my favorite bottle. I read this in the shower. I read it in the tub. I read it on the toilet. Like I read this bottle on a regular basis like it's a book. And so we're talking about Dr. Bronner's SOAP and all all the different things on the label. Why? Because I think it's amazing information that we take for granted. Like, it's there and no one actually indulges. I'm a weirdo, and so I indulge regularly. And so I'm sharing with you because you're not going to sit there and read it for yourself. So I'm going to read it for us, right? And so we have been born of the soil and are supported by the products of the soil. And there is something within each of us which cannot forget the great meaning that plants give to life. Returning to a simpler way allows us to regain our dignity, put us in touch with the land, and makes us value human contact again. As eaters, we are all farmers deciding what kind of farm system exists in the world that feeds us. Our fork is our pitchfork. Our plate is our farm. You don't see how important this is to us? Dr. Bronner's commitment to spaceship art. Oh, that's the thing I wanted to read to you guys about Dr. Bronner. Back in the 80s, in 1980, Dr. Bronner was talking about solar energy. In 86? He was talking about the importance of solar energy and what we need to start doing as far as like harnessing the energy of the sun, which is crazy to me because nobody else was thinking about that in 1986. Emanuel Bronner was born into soap. The Bronner was part of the third generation in a family of Jewish master soap makers in Germany. His family is accredited with important liquid soap innovations in the country, but because of Bronner's increasingly sour relationship with his father and uncles, he immigrated to the United States in 1929 for a clean start and to consult for American soap companies just a few years before the Nazis came to power. He started his life in the U.S. lecturing about world peace. Bronner spent years spreading word of life philosophy he called Bronner's Peace Plan, which would eventually become the moral ABC. The basic idea of his view: if people stop focusing on how we are different, instead think about how we are the same, we would be better off on this spaceship Earth. That man speaking a word, and we could do a Freaky Friday about some other stuff. His moral philosophy was born out of tragedy. In the 1940s, Bronner received word that his parents and extended family, who had stayed in Germany, were killed by the Nazis in death camps. Soon after, his wife fell ill and passed away, leaving Bronner with his 2 sons and 1 daughter, all 3 of whom he put into foster care in order to focus more on refining his speeches. His eldest son, Ralph, who, and I do want to take a moment, just a moment, because a lot of us is just like, damn, he was a deadbeat because he wanted to work. But we have to remember, in the 1940s, that's exactly what our society was all about. Women weren't even strong in the workforce. And if they were, it was only because the men were at war. And when they came home, they were glad to put their aprons back on. Some of them, right? And so in the 1940s, it was not unusual if a wife died, if he didn't marry immediately to make sure that the children have a mother, then many people were put into foster care in order to give them the motherly figure that they needed in order to, it was a different society, a different time, right? I digress. And so he put his children into foster care in order to focus more on refining his speeches. His eldest son, Ralph, who he said he spent time in 15 different orphanages, would eventually join his father on the lecture circuit and continue spreading the moral ABC after his father's death in 1997. Bronner's sister once committed him to a mental institution. So concerned by his desire to want to change, and his decision to abandon his children, his sister had him committed to the Elgin Mental Health Center outside of Chicago, where he received shock treatment. In the mid-1940s, Bronner escaped and fled to California, calling himself a rabbi, and began mixing up drums of liquid soap using the family's old recipe. His now famous peppermint soap started as a giveaway to those who came to his lectures. When he realized that people were coming to his events taking his soap and not sticking around for the talks, he started printing his talks on the bottles. Bronner spent the rest of his life refining the 30,000 word creed by which he led his life and which his company still prints on soap today. I have really chills. I know this means absolutely nothing to you, and many of you are like, Tayla is tapped. But for me, this is so, so important. The company now bases its business practices off of Bronner's life philosophy, 6 principles. Hold on, and we'll go there. We'll come back to that in a moment. Guide the employees of Dr. Bronner's hard work, growth, do right by customers, treat employees like family, be fair to suppliers, treat the earth like home, give and give. Let me go back to these comments. You should just add that Mercy by Anthony Hamilton song to your playlist. That's my February Black History Month song right now. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Judy. What's going on? Blessings to you. And so we are talking about Dr. Bronner's motivation, and everybody use the soap. The soap can be found at the dollar store. The soap is at Whole Foods, Trader Joe's. Like the soap is everywhere. But who actually reads the bottle? I do. And so going back to the 6 pillars, cosmic principles define our most important relationships and guide us in everything that we do, from soap making to peacemaking, all in one. And so 1 is work hard and grow. Number 1 in Dr. Bronner's moral ABC is work hard, prosper, learn, grow, improve. Success is the engine that makes everything else possible. First, if not for me, who am I? Nobody. Yet, if I'm only for me, what am I? Nothing. If not now, when? Do right by customers. First ingredient, love. Lead with heart. Take time. Give best. Serve customers as you would serve mother, daughter, son. Treat employees like family. Be kind. Reward generously. Support good and healthy living. Seek and encourage the best in one another. For whatever unites us is greater than what divides us. 4, be fair to suppliers. Build relationships with organic farmers and producers to create equitable supply chains, fair prices for farmers, living wages, and excellent working conditions for workers. Investment in communities, respect for land and people. 5, treat earth like home. Make humble and mindful use of the earth's gifts. Do not waste. Do not harm the land or people or animals. What comes from the earth must go back. 6, fund and fight for what is right. Be an engine for positive change. Share profit, share talent, share muscle, share voice. Give and give, fund and fight. I feel like I want to go be an employee real quick. The company first listed itself as a nonprofit religious organization. The IRS disagreed and served Bronner with a notice that he owed $1.3 million in back taxes, enough to send the company into bankruptcy. It was Bronner's son, Jim, who stepped in and saved the family soap business. David and son Jim, the one who saved the company, takes after his grandfather more than his conservative father, who rejected his dad's life philosophy and became an industrial chemist. After graduating from Harvard, David took a life-changing trip to Amsterdam and returned to the U.S. with intentions of getting back to the Netherlands to start his own marijuana growing. Oh, that makes sense why they have the hemp now. That makes so much sense. But after spending time reading up on Eastern religions, David said he finally understood what his grandfather had been preaching all about those years. When David's father passed away in 1998, David took control of the family soap business. The company's The company says there are 18 different ways to use every bottle of their soap. So despite the company's claim, though collective internet knowledge and experimentation have found there's around 14 acceptable uses for the product, including the most general cleaning. So I pause. What do you use Dr. Bronner's for? What do you use Dr. Bronner's for? Personally, I wash the floor. I've used it for dish detergent, laundry detergent. I've used, of course, I used it for shampoo. I used it, and especially like after you get braids, and you know how you have like that gunk at the top of where the braid's at? Amazing. I use it to clean fruit and vegetables. It's mad soapy to use as just like to clean tables and stuff like that. But they say dilute. 14 acceptable uses for product. What do you use Dr. Bronner's for? You can dilute the product and use it to clean dishes, doing laundries, washing floors. Somewhat surprisingly, the soap has a reputation for being an effective ant spray. Not surprising is that the internet community has mostly rejected the company's idea of using the soap to brush your teeth. I have never tried it. I'm willing to. I'm going to brush my teeth with it tonight. How about that? I'm going to try it. I really am. And then I'll come back and tell you what happens tomorrow. For years, the soap contained a secret ingredient, caramel coloring. After becoming the man on the soapbox, David decided he no longer wanted to hide the ingredients from their customers. Concerned that the soap loyalists would see the additional ingredient on the label and assume it had added it himself, or change in color from removing it would make it look like he was diluting the recipe. David decided to replace the caramel coloring with hemp oil. The color, remember, he was going to go to Amsterdam to do his little weed thing, right? And so the color of the soap changed, but customers found the new, not secret ingredient improved the feel of the lather. David believed in hemp oil so much, he sued the DEA over it. Yo, I love this company even more. I can't tell you how many times I've reached out to Dr. Bronner's company and to see if we could get them in a building and have a real conversation. That's how much, like, I truly, truly do enjoy them. And so because hemp has long been the government as equivalent to marijuana, in 2001, the DEA tightened their enforcement of the THC ban and started seizing shipment of hemp seed and hemp oil at the border. David led the industrial hemp industry in a lawsuit against the United States government. And just to make sure they didn't miss his point, corporate representatives would camp outside of the DEA headquarters and hand out samples of hemp granola and poppy seed bagels, which made the point that poppy seeds contain traces of opioids but are perfectly legal. The agency eventually reversed the policy. Since then, the company has also found itself in the business of activism. When beauty product companies Kiss My Face and Avalon Organics advertised their products as organic, Bronner sued them over their false use of the word. The company changed the label on their soap in 2014 in support of a measure in Washington state that would require the labeling of goods containing genetically modified organisms. David himself has been arrested twice, once for planting hemp seeds on the lawn of the DEA headquarters and once for milling hemp oil in front of the White House. Yo, I effing love David. Yo, God, can we please touch and agree that somebody read my email and we can have a real conversation, because I'm fooling with David right now. When Dr. Bronner couldn't find organic and fair trade source for the oils, the company started its own farm. In the case of talking the talk and walking the walk, Dr. Bronner now operates its own organic farm and fair trade palm, coconut, and olive oil farms in Ghana, Sri Lanka, Israel, where, in keeping with their vision of world peace, they source their olive oil from both Israel Israeli and Palestinian sources, coconut oil is now almost as big of a product for Bronner's as their soap. The pay for the highest executive at the company is capped at 5 times the lowest paid worker. I just want to know. I like the and I use it to wash me. That's it. That's the only thing you use it for? The highest paid executive at the company is capped at 5 times the lowest paid worker. Yo, what would Amazon look like? What would Jeff Bezos' paycheck look like? What would Facebook look like? What would any of these big box businesses with the CEOs and the executives making 1.7, 4.8, 22 point, what would it look like if they only made 5 times the lowest paid employee? I love this company more than ever right now. And so this means as CEO, David makes about $200,000 a year. Additionally, Dr. Bronner's offers every employee a fully paid health plan, company contributions to employee retirement fund at 15% of a salary, 25% annual bonus for full-time employees. What did I just say? I'm about to go work at Dr. Bronner's. The company has become more popular, but you still can't get its soap just anywhere. The original Dr. Bronner's refused to sell his product at any retailer who wasn't interested in hearing his thoughts on life. David twice rejected lucrative offers from Walmart because he didn't want to support the company's politics and low pay for workers. However, the retail giant now carries the brand. Who they get it from? Because they ain't getting it from David. That is so beautiful. Thank you. Those were some fun facts about Dr. Bronner's that you may not have known about. And so I am so glad that I just put that bug in your ear so you can have some knowledge. Some other things on the bottle is Dr. Bronner's commitment to Spaceship Earth. Dr. Bronner is committed to obtaining regenerative organic certification for all our major ingredients. We are a founding member of the Regenerating Organic Alliance, the ROA, and one of the first brands to certify raw materials under the ROC, which is the Regenerative Organic Certification. Learn more at the website, Love Your Farmer. Commit to choosing regenerative organic, support farmers and farm workers, eliminate toxic synthetic agrochemical from land and groundwater. Pause. Your skin is the largest organ in your body. And if you turn your lotion around and you look at your lotion and you look at your soap and you look at what you're actually allowing into your system, I think you would really make a change, because some of these soaps are the reason why your face is breaking out. Some of these soaps and lotion is the reason why you have acne, is the reason why you have, what's that thing called? What is this? Eczema. It's the reason why you're going through what you're going through. Personal opinion. I don't think people with skin cancer, everybody's like, oh, it's because of the sun. And we never take a look at the products that we're actually utilizing that may have chemical, cancerous, carcinogenic products in them. Regenerate soil with holistic farming practices. Read Kiss the Ground by Josh Tickle. And watch Dreaming of a Better World. Better World instead of a Better World by Bonnie Hawthorne. Sow political seeds of hope. Support politicians and policy measures advancing regenerative organic agriculture, family farms, soil health, and reduction of chemically intensive farming practices emitting greenhouse gases that contribute to climate change. Get involved in local politics to influence change in your own backyard. Participate in local, state, and federal elections. Vote, vote, vote. Dr. Bronner's factory is 100% renewable powered, and the soap we make is completely non-toxic and biodegradable. All of the cylinder soap bottles are made from 100% post-consumer recycled plastic. Fungi is family, the great connectors and transformers of life. Fungi create complex underground networks, breaking down organic matter and unlocking stored energy and nutrients for other organisms to absorb in order to grow and thrive. Fungi appear to be the oldest terrestrial relative. Humanity would not have achieved complex civilized systems without the influence of fungi on our beings. Boycott bad meat. Animals raised in confined animal feeding operations, or CAFOs, and fed conventional carbon water intensive grains are an environmental and ethical disaster. Inefficiently convert plants into animal protein and calories, especially in the cease of feedlot versus grass-fed beef. Read Eating Animals. Our response to the factory farm is ultimately a test of how we respond to the powerless, to the most distant, to the voiceless. And that's from Jonathan Safran for Eating Animals. The Earth needs our loving care. Industrial AG plows through and destroys life-giving soil. Overuse of synthetic fertilizers and pesticides. Intensive plowing. Failure to cover resting soil with fertile building cover crop. Overgrazing. All destroy soil health. Releasing greenhouse destroys soil health, which causes them to release greenhouse gases. Farmers and workers are paid poverty wages to grow commodity crops in dead soil. That is the most powerful line I have ever read in my life. Let's read that one more again. Farmers and workers are paid poverty wages to grow commodity crops in dead soil. If the soil is dead and the nutrients that come from the soil are in your food, what are you eating? Most often used to feed factory farmed animals suffering in confined animal feeding operations. Regenerative organic agriculture builds rich soil, grows healthy plants and microbes that break in CO2, retains water, mitigates flood and drought, fosters biodiversity and rich habitat for wildlife, treat farmers and workers with dignity, ensures animal welfare, closes nutrient cycle, enhances life-supporting complex biosystems, and mitigates catastrophe climate change on spaceship Earth. Whew. We are all animals of this earth, and factory farming of animals ensure 5 freedoms for farm animals: no hunger or thirst, no discomfort, no pain, injury, disease, freedom to express normal behaviors, no fear or distress, suitable shelter and minimal transport distances, no confined animal feeding operations. If you eat animals, limit how much you eat and only eat grass-fed, pasture raised to ensure compassion. When in doubt, eat plant-based meals. Farming is holy work. Empower people, engaging communities, be fair to those who grow our food and raise our animals. Farm workers deserve rights, not exploitation or marginalization. Fair prices, living wages, long-term commitments, no child labor, no forced labor. We are all one. And if you don't know anything about forced labor, I just want to let you know that everybody currently in a private, not everyone, let me clarify. Those that are working through private prisons get paid 47 cents an hour, $1.39 an hour. The highest I've ever heard was like $2.18 an hour. Remember the daddy who was he was in jail and he saved up all of his money from working and sent it to his baby girl so she could go to college. I was like, he never slept. He never slept. I didn't know you could use it for all those things. What's going on, Bill Ray? How are you? Jesus, thank you so much for this information. Now I have to get back to work. Well, I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you for tuning in. I didn't realize what time it was because there's so much label to read. And we can no longer read any labels because we're at the top of the hour. But I do want to, what I'm going to do is just rewatch the show. That's what we're going to just rewatch the show for the Reebok grant. Just rewatch the show. And it was one of the first stories. And so hopefully that's helpful. If you are currently listening in your vehicle or at work, you can always go over to YouTube and search TAYLA ANDRE for Everything Tayla Andre. Y'all like the sweater? So naked, because it's easy to take your clothes off and get busy, but have you been able to let down your guard and be so naked and align your chakras and allow yourself to be vulnerable enough to have your soul be naked? Many of us are not, and so that is the premise behind this right here. And I love the embroidered version because I had a non-embroidered version, but I will never ever sell nothing that is non-embroidered after having this one made. And so I am Tayla Andre. Waking Up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up at about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations. If you know anybody looking to buy or sell real estate, 617-459-0041. Finally Home, the step-by-step guide for people preparing for first-time home ownership, was written by me, a Black woman. Support. If you know anybody looking to buy a house in the next 5 years, it's not something that you want to read when you're trying to buy a house next month. It's something you want to read and prepare yourself and have the knowledge so you can make informed decisions moving forward. And so I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. Spark FM online, everything. We just launched our new website. So please go to the website, like, share, subscribe. If any of today filled your soul, we had an exchange of energy, I ask you to share with your friends, to like, to subscribe, to do those things. If I poured into you, I'm asking you to pour into me. I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. And I hope you guys have an amazing day.
The People Station. What is that?
What is that?
Spark FM.
Are you tired of renting and need more of your own space? Are you getting stressful letters or calls from the bank? Does your home require expensive repairs and you just don't have the funds to fix them? Regardless of whether you want to buy or sell, Tayla Andre of Thumbprint Realty is here to help. From saving your home from foreclosure to walking you through the process of becoming a first-time homeowner, Tayla makes real estate easy. With your best interests at heart, knowledge of the market, and a passion for people, Tayla is dedicated and motivated to serve you.
Good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I am Tayla Andre, and I am determined and dedicated in assisting you in all of your real estate needs. Give me a call at 617-459-0041. Again, that number is 617-459-0041. Or you can email me at TAYLAANDRE@thumbprintrealty.com.